But what I ultimately want to do is get like a current deck list for the major archetypes. So a current Esper Fair Frog, current Oculus, current like Grixis Casey Jones. And if you go to these current ones, they'll have this primer tag right under it. So if you go straight down from the name of the deck, you see like where Kaito is here. Right up above to the left, there's a primer symbol right here. It says primer. And if you click there, it'll take you to my sideboard guide for that deck list, for that iteration. And I'm going to try to do that with all the major iterations. So you have in one place exactly what like my current tournament ready 75 is that I stand by, and then have access to the sideboard guide like right there if you're wanting that for that list that it shows. And I'm going to try to do that with, like I said, all of the major fair blue black X variants, like Murktide, Oculus, Riddler, whatever else. So it's just all in one place, but it's going to take a lot of organizing the Mox field. All right. Let me get back to chat. You said you're doing Cincinnati, right? Yeah, I am. I also got a card that I'm interested in testing out in Standard that I think has gone under the radar a bit. I recorded my preview cards for or not my preview cards, but like my I recorded my video of my interest cards for Blue Black X from Secrets of Strixhaven. And there's a card that I pointed out for Standard specifically. This thing, Scheming Silver Tongue. I feel like this card's gone under the radar a bit. Because with like getting a 1/1 counter off of it from like a map token or playing like the Beaver dude from TMNT, you can just turn this thing into like a free sign in blood every turn. So like the opportunity cost is very, very low. Tomato. Is this like Belcher? Reprinting cards on other cards now. Yeah, have you not seen this whole mechanic? It's like you get a card, it, how to describe it? These cards have a prepared condition. So something occurs and they become prepared. If they're prepared, you can cast this secondary spell. And then some of them don't have the ability to become prepared again. Some of them do. So it's all about like balancing preparing them versus not. Frog. Frog Bobble. All right. I think I'm going to do kind of the same thing. Just go to their upkeep. Thinking if I want to play around Harbinger. Probably don't really need to. I don't think I want to play out a Frog here and risk them having interaction on their own turn, but they don't have counter spell up right now. They might have spell snare, but what is this? Emery? Not gonna lie, I did not have Emery on my radar here. They put Emery back on top. Emery's not an outlaw, is it? Merfolk Wizard. It is not. Yeah, the prepared stuff is pretty cool. Like some of the cards I went over, it's like a prepared reanimate. There's a 5-mana prepared ancestral recall. Love to see that. Rona Faithless Looting. I can't imagine that they will block this. We'll just go ahead and take out this Emery, say go. So it's got to be some sort of a combo deck based off of Rona, Emery. I see Goryo's Vengeance now. We can just let this go, right? Like get my Surveil, and then I can always march it on my turn. Sure. I think I'm just gonna jump the frog, get my guaranteed damage in. Get rid of Rona, say go. Agatha's Soul Cauldron. No, thank you. Okay, let's try to figure out what's going on. Goryo's Vengeance. This has got to mean that Griselbrand is in the deck, right? It's either Goryo's Vengeance back like a Rona and set up some combo, or Griselbrand is in the deck because of Goryo's Vengeance, Soul Cauldron. Could be Griselbrand is in the deck and try to get back a Rona, but not entirely sure what the plan is here on their part. What do I want? What do I not want? Pest control seems mid. I board out a Riddler. Just try to stay a little leaner. Wonder how. I guess maybe I want to like trim on some bowmasters. It seems like the kind of card that's probably pretty good into whatever their over the top combo is, but just as like a value cheap threat seems a little mid. Like it doesn't actually kill a Rona or a Tameo or something like that. Probably just like can't get a Kaito off the board. Seems reasonable. A little weak to a Soul Cauldron. What you got, OP? Mox Opal. So at Cincinnati, are you playing standard or are you jamming the modern events? It's in my backyard, so I'm jamming modern. I'll be playing main event standard. I somehow managed to qualify for that, so I figure I might as well. Wait, did I not bring in Stony Silence? I didn't. I should have. Yeah, I'll be playing main event and seeing how it goes. Walking Ballista. We know what Walking Ballista usually leads to. Yeah, I'm curious to see how Demir looks after rotation, or not after rotation, but after this next set. Just because it's probably pretty interesting with some of the new cards, but Erode might just be too much to overtake. What do I think about Rona? I kind of want to save this mystical dispute as long as I can, just because it's my only answer to a cauldron at the moment. Well, no, it's not. Playing Flow State. Do you think that card's that good? I feel like it's kind of mid. The setup is pretty heavy for it. Like needing an instant and a sorcery for it to be better than Anticipate. Is it only one? It's two. It's one in a blue. Or do you mean only needing one type? Because you need both for it to be draw 3. I know, or draw 2. I know because it was on my video earlier. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom in any order. If there's an instant card and a sorcery card in your graveyard, instead put 2 of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. So you have to have both an instant and a sorcery to get 2 of the 3. I think I'm warping Riddler here. Ugh. Punished. Punished. It's like for sure I'll draw a piece of interaction or a blue card, right? Nope. Fair enough. I was not going to pay for this Thoughtseize. I'd rather just hold up Subtlety this turn, play like land drop Subtlety. If they do nothing, I would probably flash in the Subtlety just to get cards out of hand to try to land Quantum Riddler draw 2 next turn. But either way. Are you back from ads yet? So I can go back over this stupid card. Yeah, it's sorcery speed and it needs an instant and a sorcery. If there's an instant card and a sorcery card in your graveyard, instead put 2 of them into your hand. So, not free. Yeah, if it was one or the other and instant speed, it would be exponentially better. Unfortunately, it is neither of those things. What else did I talk about in that video? There's a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna try out in modern Oculus. I don't think most of it'll end up making the final cut, but this dude's cool. The infusion ability at the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, return up to 1 target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. So this dude plus like a Cling to Dust just lets you get back an Oculus, which is pretty sick. Ship this back. On the draw, nothing on turn 1. Pretty rough hand. And then like the reanimate prepared dude's cool since he's a 3-drop. And this dude, I feel like this guy's getting slept on a bit too. Like the increment ability, it's just whenever you cast a spell, doesn't have to be creature, instant, sorcery, whatever. I feel like if you get this dude into play early and then just play your normal game plan, you'll end up drawing like 3 cards off of him, maybe 4 with no extra investment, which is pretty dope. All right, what did they do? They went top. So it's not, I assume it's not Prowess, because Prowess typically doesn't play basic island. Shock in, say go. And Cling to Dust if nothing. Didn't see this blue guy. Yeah, it is unearthable, which is big. And you can have lines like turn 1, you scour over him, Faithless Looting over, Surveil over, whatever. Turn 2, unearth him, play a 1-drop, and he increments up. So you draw a card and you get to play your 1-mana spell. And then you counter something the next turn, like counterspell something, he gets another counter. And then you hard cast a Force of Negation or an Oculus and he gets another counter. Then you hard cast like a Subtlety or a Kaito and he gets another counter. It's not like a crazy progression. Imri, Lurker of the Lock. All right, let us cling to dust something. Well, if we can somehow manage to steal a game 1 against Affinity, that would be pretty dope. Yes, I know that I could get a Hallowed Fountain off of this to have untapped Pest Control next turn, but untapped Pest Control doesn't really do anything for me since they're not making a construct until my end step if they do make one. So I can still just like play Frog, or in this case, hold up, shoot the Sheriff or whatever, and then have Pest Control next turn, which is when it would actually matter. Play out a Frog. Sure. Maseo is actually way cooler than I thought. He creates a dude that enables himself to reanimate 1-drops. Yeah, I kind of talked about in my video how he by himself can just get back like Tamios or Ragavans or something like that. But then Cling to Dust was the big one. That's already like a main deckable card. Take out an opposing Flage, reanimate your own Oculus. I just don't know if there's any other like main deckable incidental life gain that would make it worthwhile. I don't really think Cling to Dust is enough by itself, but if you can find something to pair with it, it could be. Am I doing a pre-release this weekend? Probably not. I think I'm going to do another RCQ on Saturday. So probably not going to do anything Friday or Sunday. Mox Opal. They have the Kappa. They do have the Kappa. Dang it. That's brutal. It was like the thing I needed them to not have this turn. So, what are my options? I can pest control away everything except the Kappa and the weapons manufacturing. I take 6 down to 11. Then take 6 off the Kappa and have to hope that none of their next 2 cards are artifacts. But I do have Shieldred's Edict I could draw to. I think that might be worth it. Got pest control away everything. and then play out my frog and try to hit a Shieldred's Edict. Don, what's up? Just left the post office tracking number in my DMs. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good Monday so far. Well, if they top decked an artifact, they should not play it this turn. They should hold it to next turn. Which means now I've got a decision to make. Which is, I could just sit back and hope they don't have an artifact, but I would be chump blocking this Kappa anyway. Does Kaito do anything for me? Not really. So I can't pay for the ward off of Kappa. Just double check that ward does apply to permanents and not just spells. Yep. Comes the target of a spell or ability. Is there any way? Yeah, I think I'm just passing. If they don't play an artifact, I escape Cling to Dust. If they do play an artifact, I have to cycle Pest Control. And try to hit Edict. Dang, this is looking like a big tournament list. I know, it's crazy. It's like I advertise it as such. Good eyes. All right. Affinity, Affinity, Affinity. Kaito, pretty bad. Quantum Riddler, a little slow. Bowmaster, kind of mid. I definitely forgot that I'm on Shoot the Sheriff this league and not Shieldred's Edict. So I didn't even have an Edict to draw into. I think that Shoot the Sheriff is better into Boros and Shieldred's Edict's better into Affinity. I was feeling good at that Pest Control turn before they went weapons manufacturing, double artifact, Kappa Cannoneer. Witherbloom Command seems kind of fire next to Moseo just because of the gain 5. Like, if the argument is just Witherbloom Command strictly for the gain 5 to try to reanimate a 5 drop, it seems a little underwhelming because the other modes on Witherbloom, pretty much all the modes on Witherbloom Command kind of suck. The Destroy Non-Land Permanent's not bad, but just gaining 5 life is rough. Can't keep a 1-lander. I get raked over the coals. Have Pablo in my DMs. She's like, I can't believe you kept a one lander. What are you doing? It's a yard filler though. Well, it's only a yard filler if you have something to sacrifice, but like realistically, what are you sacrificing early? You may sacrifice a permanent if you do draw 2 cards or destroyed. Are you talking about just being like a spell to cast? Filling the yard that way? Because that's not putting like a reanimate target for your Maseo in play. Are we talking about the same command? Because you said Witherbloom command. Oh, Witherbloom command, not Witherbloom charm. Okay. Different cards. Different cards. Am I just sink into stupering this EE? Guess not. Freaking drawing swamp and opener, tail as old as time. I can't even argue against that. It's not awful right here, but it does show up a lot. Got a Mox Opal. Don't really want more lands. I said I don't want more lands. Do I have any interest in warping Quantum Riddler right here? Nah. Boo. Stupid Urza's Saga. Can I find a March of Otherworldly Light? March of Otherworldly Light. March of Otherworldly Light. One of these days that's going to work. But I do have 2 constructs covered with Sync and Fatal Push. I guess that's a plus, kind of. Maybe opponent will do nothing and pass. Mirabito, what's up? Is this matchup still rough? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This looks like they're just wanting to. You'd have been so good a while ago. Looks like they're just wanting to be able to make a construct and Metallic Rebuke the Quantum Riddler. Unfortunately, there's not like a good way to interact with that. Guess we'll just pass. Is Withering Curse not just a great magic card, or am I tripping? That's the Wrath effect, right? So one in double black, give everything -2/-2 is something that's been printed on a million cards over the course of history, right? So we know that effect. Infusion, if you gain life this turn, destroy all creatures instead. How many times are you gaining life without having to do something additional to get this online? And if you have to, if you're talking about standard, completely different situation. But in terms of modern, how many times are you gaining life that don't involve spending extra mana? And if you have to spend extra mana and another card to get this online, why not just play Damnation instead? There's not really anything. It's just like, oh, go to your main phase, gain 3 life that's playable. Like, you have to do something to enable that. The gain life lands, duh. So then you have to be on turn 4, play the land to gain the life, and then cast this. At which point you could just play Damnation and not need to come into play tap, gain a life land. Probably slots into like Necro decks, right? Well, don't they still have to like do something to gain life? They don't. I guess Soul Spike you into Wrath is an option, but I don't know if that's even like a thing that deck wants. Could be. Just get out of here. Get out of here. Just curious, my card assessment lacks. It's my worst MTG skill. I think most everybody, like myself included, is pretty bad at card assessment. And for the most part, if anybody says they're actively good at card assessment, they're probably not assessing their own card assessment skills very well. Because people screw up assessments of cards constantly. Everybody does. It's a very, very difficult skill. Arcbound Ravager. I would love to go ahead and get this Metallic Rebuke out of hand. I'm just going to use this because if they're trying to set up another play, I'm hoping this just stops that. And better yet, if they're nice enough to Metallic Rebuke this. Of course, they're not. All right. Pest Control, Stony Silence. More Subtlety. Not quite. Think we need that Stony Silence now. Ancestral Recall dude seems fun. Turn 3, persist, 4/4, ward 2, draw 3. Well, why wait till turn 3 when you can just turn 2, like Faithless looting on 1 and turn 2, turn 2 persist? Just surveil it. Just surveil it, forehead. We'll play the one they know about. We can hardcast Subtlety and pay for Mystical or Metallic Rebuke now, so that's got to count for something, right? I don't like where this is going. We need a Stony Silence. Oh no, he has 2 of the broken cards. He does. He does indeed. But maybe he doesn't realize it. This is 7. So this kills me. Unless I cling to gain some life. Yeah, if they could stop giving Affinity really good stuff, that'd be cool. I would appreciate that. All right. Stony Silence off the top, one-time dealer. Can't cast that one. If they go to Metallic Rebuke this, do I want to Subtlety my own Quantum Riddler? I kind of feel like I do. Subtlety my Riddler, play tapped Hallowed Fountain. I was going to say Subtlety Riddler, play tapped Hallowed Fountain. They have to whiff. And then Warp Riddler next turn to draw 2 and try to hit Stony. But after this game, I do have a conversational point. This came up in a YouTube comment, and I want to make sure people understand. Let me pull up the default list. I guess the Moxfield list would be easier since it's a little more. Okay, in my tournament list right now, this list, I played 2 Stony Silence in the sideboard. The reason is that Stony Silence, Pest Control, and Counter Spells, or like Mystical Dispute, Counter Spell, Subtlety, or whatever, work in like a 3-prong attack, a triangle attack here. If you're a basketball fan, a triangle offense. Counter Spells and Mystical Disputes and Subtleties are really good into Imri, into Pinnacle Emissary, and Kappa Cannoneer. But they're not good into Weapons Manufacturing. They're not good into Urza's Saga. Pest Control is really good into Urza's Saga. It's not good into Weapons Manufacturing because of the munitions tokens. And it's not good into Kappa Cannoneer, Pinnacle Emissary, Imri, the things that Counterspell is specifically good against. And then Stony Silence is good into Weapons Manufacturing because it stops Engineered Explosives, Claws of Gix, Arcbound Ravager, but it's not good into Kappa Cannoneer, Pinnacle Emissary Drone Starts, Imri, and it's not good into Urza's Saga. So it's all about balancing out what your deck is trying to answer into while not losing to the other things. Don't let the enchantment resolve. Yes, just always have the stuff, the perfect thing every game, no questions asked. GG easy. Always have Force and Negation in case your opponent plays Weapons Manufacturing on turn 1. Never rely on Counterspell and Metallic Rebuke. Use your Counterspell on the Weapons Manufacturing with a Stony Silence in hand and die to the Kappa Cannoneer. Higher on Force Negation than Subtlety. That's fine. I don't like Force Negation as much into Boros and Jeskai being the top 2 decks in the format. I do like me a frog. Broodscale, eh? Side some out versus Boros. I still don't want them resolving a Goblin Bombardment either. Well, nobody wants them resolving a Goblin Bombardment, but you don't want to keep in a bunch of cards that are like bad against 95% of the deck to really try to key on the 3%. What do I think are the odds that I can hit a fetch land? I'm going to leave this. I really don't want to use up, like, a lot of my counters. Fetch. Fetch one time. It's always that one, isn't it? Yeah, subtlety does enable push, which is a fine backup, but it doesn't do anything into Kozilek's command, which is like the card I'm most concerned about. Ancient Stirrings. Sure. Speak of the devil. All right. Let's get our Cling to Dust on. See if we can draw into a fetch. Conveniently not a fetch. Also not a fetch. But I do have that subtlety evoke fatal push line now. Which we might end up using. Said EWJ Custer. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. We could also Bowmaster our own Bowmaster. I think I am going to go ahead and push. Am I? Maybe not. It gets a little bit awkward because, like, I know they have this Kozilek's command now, and they can always just pass through and not do anything. Like, I really want this subtlety to be a 2-for-1. Thanks, man. Love your content. Been playing Esper Gorios, and your challenge run with that deck was impressive. I appreciate it. I haven't picked up Esper Gorios in a minute, and I feel like I need to give it another shot. I like that deck. I can't say it's like the top of the plans to play in the near future, mainly because I think my opinion of Gorios is I think the deck is good, but I think the deck really suffers from if the unfair aspect of the deck is taken away, I don't think the deck is very good. And there's a lot of decks at the top of the format that just like take away that unfair aspect. And that just makes it kind of rough when you play up against like Boros with a bunch of Thraben charms and Affinity with a bunch of Tormod's crypts and stuff like that. Like, I just don't think the unfair part of, or I don't think the fair part of Goryo's is good enough to win a tournament. You have to have that unfair element. And I just think that the unfair element at the moment is a little too inconsistent. That's just my opinion of it. The deck's still good, but I just think there's too many things that kind of like freely take away the unfair element. All right, so we get a Kozilek's command here. Counterspell this before the Flesh Raker trigger resolves. I don't actually know if it matters if I counterspell this before the trigger resolves. I don't think there's anything that can happen there. Fetch. I guess we're just going after this spawn token so we can get in with the frog. Quite a fetch. Do I want a Kaito Bane of Nightmares? I think I do. All right. You can make an infinitely large Broodscale. We don't know if they have a payoff in hand. If they don't have a payoff, then I'm okay at the moment. If they do have a payoff, then life sucks. Like, if this is just make a giant Broodscale, I don't care about that. But if their last card is like an Emrakul or a Kozilek's command or something, then unfortunate. Yeah. Point in case. No. No gigantic Kozilek's command. Unholy Heat. Fair. All right. Don't need anything good. That's pretty good. Could be worse. So what's my plan here? I could play. Is it just hard cast Kaito tick up? If I attack with the Bowmaster, they sack this block with the first spawn, sack the second spawn, go to eat the Bowmaster. I could respond to the Blade of the Blood Chief trigger with Bowmaster on that spawn token, but I feel like that doesn't really get me anywhere. So I think I'm just going to Kaito tick up, have Bowmaster as a chump blocker if I think they're going to put me in a spot where I need to protect the Kaito, and then try to set up like Bowmaster, ping them plus Kaito 0 to find a fetch land, have pest control to wipe out Saga Constructs, Blade, all this stuff. Chrysalis. Okay. Slightly more annoying. I don't have to block this, right? They can sack 3 and deal 3 to the Kaito. Sure. If that's what you want to do, go for it. All right. So Bowmaster, shoot you. Zero Kaito. Do find a white source. So we'll bin the force negation. Top the archive. Then you say go. And we're looking at just trying to triple chump block to save Kaito and untap with pest control away most of the board. Hold up force negation. Kaito can stun the Chrysalis and then see where we go from there. Soul Guide Lantern is A-OK. Kind of surprised they didn't just get another Blade of the Blood Chief there. They could like strap it up to an extra spawn. This is great for me. You're going to let me keep a Kaito or keep a Bowmaster around? Take this all day long. They do have Emrakul mana. Is there any chance that's why they got the Soul Guide Lantern? We're gonna have to think a little bit here too. Like, if this is an Emrakul on top, do I have any chance of actually beating that? Versus if it's um, a way to try to find an Emrakul, like a Malevolent Rumble. I kind of don't hate just zeroing Kaito. But at the same time, I've got him on a 2-turn clock. If I just stun the Chrysalis. But I could also stun the Chrysalis next turn. Do I have anything in my main deck? Subtlety. Subtlety would be the big reason to try to draw to answer the but if I subtlety, I can't do anything about the Chrysalis. All right. I'm just going to hope that it is not a way, not an actual Emrakul, but a way to find Emrakul and or something that like they put on top when they had all of their resources. All right, that's fine. Did they have 2 cards in hand and I just missed it? So we do what? We just attack with the Kaito. Yeah. They have to block. If they double block with Broodscale plus Chrysalis, I've got Shoot the Sheriff. If they just single block with something, then I think I stun down their Chrysalis, play Frog. Give up the Kaito. I don't even have to stun down the Chrysalis because I've got the Shoot the Sheriff. Maybe I just try to set up next turn's draw. If they do something like attack it Kaito with Chrysalis and Broodscale, just let it go. Seti coming in with the 8-month resub. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the subscribers. All right, so we give up Kaito to stun down the Chrysalis. Lets me interact here. Can't take them off delirium. All right, and I think I just pass back. Getting farmed by an unlucky or a handsome Broodscale player. Do you know our opponent? So many chrysalises. Does that thing have reach? Yes. Yes, it does. You just have to go all the way down to the terms and conditions to find it. It's annoying. It's very annoying. Tony, you're not dead. Fair. Yeah, they threw that reach like so far down into the underbelly of that card. It's kind of ridiculous. Subclause B in the endnotes. You gotta wake up pretty early to filter through all the nonsense to find reach on that card. It's been so long since I've played against Broodscale. I'm like struggling to remember what I even board against them. I know I board out a bunch of counter spells because sometimes they're on Cavern of Souls, sometimes they just have aggressively slanted curves. And I'm bringing in like more efficient counters with Stern Scolding and Consign to Memory. Is Esper Blink still our nightmare? I guess so. Not really. Because like nowadays, most of the frog lists are on like 2 or 3 Kaito, and Kaito just solos any of the Blink matchups, Esper or Jeskai. Exile your own ancient stirrings and get farther away from Emrakul. Got him. Seems pretty good. I would like to take that one. I think we're going to go ahead and get Stony Silence down. I don't hate Cling to Dust here. They've got an unholy heat that I know about, so like it's gonna get some mileage just interacting with that. And I'm pretty close to getting like a second redraw off of it. Can't activate abilities. Got them. Vexing Bauble. Sure. All right. Let's find a threat. It's not a threat, but you know, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. No. Judge. Okay. That has power and toughness. Do have to be conscientious of when they sack this Urza saga, they'll have delirium again. Cavern of Souls. They think they're going to sack this Urza saga again. Little do they know. Just going to save these lands. Actually, I'll play one of them because it'll let me escape Cling to Dust if I want. They make a construct. I'm going to immediately go for the March here. Opponent, I think you should donate some life over this direction. And I'm just going to go ahead and flashback the Cling to Dust. If they've got a Kozilek's command, like I'm not doing very well into that anyway. So I don't really mind going shields down here. No, they actually have it. Lame. Lame. Oh, wait, did they not? They didn't exile my frog? This gives them the card types for Delirium. That's fair. Yeah. Frog down. Sounds about right. What do they surveil? 2 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Scry, whatever. Cavern of Souls naming. Construct. Walking ballista me. I would be thrilled if they just put a big walking ballista into play here. They didn't go. They didn't go for adapting that, so I'm going to sit on Consign instead of going for the Cling to Dust here. Assuming that their last card's a Kozilek's Command. Or maybe they just didn't want me to gain the life. That could have been a reason as well. Exile Kozilek's Command, draw a card. My life total's not under too much duress yet, but I do need to find some stuff to turn the game around. Like, I am going to have to answer this construct token eventually. Broodscale number 2. I think I'm just going to go ahead and sink this construct token. Since I have the consigned to memory, so if they have a Kozilek's Command here, I can counter it. And I kind of just want stuff in the yard for Cling. Riddler, Frog. Keep a Kozilek's Command. All right, how many Kozilek's Commands have we been through so far? Only 2? Feels like it's been more. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So plenty of Emrakul mana. Did they find the Emrakul? Walking Ballista for 3. Okay. We could draw a card, but drawing a card sounds so boring. So, or not. We could gain life, but gaining life sounds boring. So I'm going to draw a card instead. Sage you. Seiju's pretty good. Did not have that one on my radar. Well, don't like our chances here. So Frog has to chump block this ballista or we die. Less than ideal. Which means we need like pest control off the top. All right, on to game 3. 6 minutes to go. We're on the play, so we're going to board in the more aggressive stuff. Is there anything I want to take away from that game? Something like this. Sand might do some stuff. I'm going to keep that on top. It's a blue card to pitch to force if I need to. And I kind of think I just want to blow up this Blade of the Blood Chief right here. Just get that out of here, and then like force a negation, a Malevolent Rumble or something on their turn, and try to just go turn 3 Swamp Harbinger. Walking Ballista on 1. Harbinger on none. All right, so we get to see if they just have land, Ballista down the Harbinger, or maybe we find a removal spell. Nope. Then I think I would rather get Kaito down here than Frog. Okay. Well, if they do find the 4th land, they have to spend their entire turn going with Ballista. Guess they can attack Kaito if they want, but there's not like much of a reason to do that. I mean, attacking Kaito is fine, but past that's kind of whatever. Then we are going to swing. Is there any reason to swing both, or is it just free block on the Kaito if I do? Well, I guess if I'm going to swing Kaito, I might as well Fatal Push. And like, you get to kill my Harbinger, but you were going to do that anyway. They didn't. Oh no. Oh no, they didn't click the second the second ballista activation on the Harbinger. Oh no. It's I hate that that happened here. That opponent, they said they clicked 2 times. This is like the weird spot of Moto, because if my hand was just absolutely nothing and like I had nothing to do, I would just scoop to my opponent here, because the sagas are going to beat me if I had nothing. But I don't have nothing. I've got like interaction for the chapter 2 trigger on sagas. Let's see if opponent ends up reading that at some point. But normally in a spot like that, like I said, if I had nothing, I would gladly just scoop to my opponent for the misclick there. But since I had interaction for the sagas on board, or the cast triggers off like a Chrysalis plus stun it down with Kaito, and have Frog attacking, and have Force and Negation up, like that's a lot of game, or a lot of gameplay through what we saw on board. So it's really tough to just like scoop there because of a misclick. Theoretically, if Ragavan was blue, how many would you play in this deck? If Ragavan was blue, I'd be on 4. Like, easy 4. 8. Correct answer. 4 Rag, 4 Mockingbird. No. Yeah, I would definitely be on a bunch of them if it didn't require going off color. But with it being red, I think that the white sideboard cards um, impact the win rate more than red does. Luis, good games as well. So my hand there at the end was like frog, force a negation, second frog, consigned to memory, or something like that. So if I had had nothing in hand, I gladly would have just scooped to the misclick and said like, oh, you got your mana back online. I can't beat double saga. Like, I'll just move on. But because I had a lot of interaction for chapter 2 on the saga, plus like interaction for stuff in hand, it was really awkward. I couldn't just like scoop based off of that, if that makes sense. And I hate how that plays out. But for reimbursement, when you're on the home screen, up on the top right, I know you can't see it behind the screen, but up at the very top right, there's this little question mark. If you click there, it brings up this prompt and you can report issue on the left side, and it'll take you like additional reimbursement terms, blah, 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 report issue, and it'll take you over to this other window and just scroll down to, where is it? Request a reimbursement at the very bottom, and just, it'll ask for like what happened, why you're requesting reimbursement, blah, blah, blah. And you can just say like you clicked on it, it didn't register that you clicked on it, and you'd like to file for reimbursement. And usually if you don't like aggressively file for reimbursement every single match or something, they're pretty generous with it. I don't know what Verdant Catacombs says to me. Yeah, I would just file to be safe. Doesn't hurt anything. I don't know what would happen. I plan to kill Harbinger and try to make constructs, probably a long game, right? Like, I would have gone to your turn and replicated Consign on the 2 chapter 2 triggers on Saga so that you couldn't make constructs, and then try to win with like Frog Jump plus Kaito stun down something on the battlefield and hope that was good enough. It's really dicey one way or the other. Like I said, if I didn't have the consigned memory in hand, I would gladly just scoop to the constructs because I wouldn't be beating those with that hand anyway. All right, no subtlety is nice. We have Tamio, but we really love a blue 1-drop beater. Yeah, they were fantastic games. I had a lot of fun as well that match. I haven't played against Broodscale in a hot minute, so it's cool to see it show up again. Shardless Agent into what? Coiling Oracle's rough. I really wish this had cascaded into another birthing ritual, because I probably would have just subtletied it and like gotten my free frog attack in. But see if they get the Oculus right away. I don't think I'm getting this one because they have the force of negation in hand that I already know about. If they didn't have the force, we'd have a bit of a shot, but they're willing to throw away this Oculus. Nope. Maybe I should have thrown away one more card. Yeah, Virgil, back to your comment. I really like Tameo as a card. But one of the things that's really skewed how I currently have the deck built is wanting all of my card advantage. That's brutal. Wanting all of my card advantage engines to also attack my opponent. And what's it called? Tameo, like, when I say attack my opponent, I mean like actually deal damage to my opponent. And Tameo doesn't do that, which is kind of tough. So that's why I lean more on like Psychic Frog, Kaito, Bowmasters to an extent, Quantum Riddler. Sack Oculus for an untapped Oculus. Yep. Opponent seeing triple Oculus in the top 20 is not where I want to be on my side, but is what it is. Go to game 2. All right, so we've got Simic Ritual. I've got kind of mixed feelings about the Simic Ritual deck. I don't think it's particularly good in current modern, just because like Boros is a 20% plus deck and it's really rough into that matchup in particular. And I think if your deck is like that bad into Boros, you're gonna have a really tough time at the moment. I think it's like a cool F&M deck, but I don't think I would take it to an RC or an RCQ at the moment. Again, just because Boros is so popular. But I did a breakdown, I think it's over on YouTube, of my list of frog. The reason that this list like speaks to me so much is you have a very proactive game plan that like the flash builds don't necessarily have access to, where you're everything you do is trying to gear towards getting down a card advantage engine on like a fairly clean board. So Kaito, Frog, Quantum Riddler, and then protecting it the turn you play it out with your free stuff, and trying to get from that point to winning the game. But your card advantage, like you get to deal damage to your opponent while improving your hand without having to apply extra resources, which I think is really important. All right. Sage you with nothing. Take an extra land. This is like an end of turn Ice Fang. I'll probably fight over it. Birthing Ritual. I need a frog. I need some form of card advantage. This is where the deck, I think, struggles a lot, is if you don't have that way of like advancing your board, you can run into a lot of trouble by just kind of stalling out. That last turn was like the turn I really needed to turn the corner. No flare is huge. I would love if they just went like ritual, ritual, ritual. Ice Fang. Maybe I should have countered that. So they don't have 3 snow permanents to sack. If they want to just block with the Ice Fang, I'm kind of okay with that. I'm really trying to set up a turn where they go for something and we create a stack war. Like they try to resolve a birthing ritual, dispute, second counter, second dispute, something. And then I can untap with Deluge and just clear the board away. It doesn't look like opponent's going to be so generous. They have Dismember. All right, show me the Oculus. Just hope it's not Oculus plus protection spell. Petty theft is fine. Maybe that was a bait for a counter. Birthing ritual's annoying. I think this is always frog. So I can have fatal push plus full retail mystical dispute. Like, I don't want to pay for Kaito and have it mystical disputed and have to dispute back. Do you have the Oculus now? Nothing. All right. Let's crack in with frog, hopefully. We'll draw our card off of frog. Then ninjutsu in the Kaito. Well, they can't counter it. Please don't tide binder me. That's not going to work the way you want it to. Bad news indeed. I'll definitely take that. What did they think would happen? Couldn't tell you on that one. All right. So opponent's going to endurance, I assume me. I'm going to fatal push this endurance with my fancy newfound revolt off of my frog getting picked up to Kaito. Pass back. Hopefully subtlety, anything they put on the stack, creature-wise. Why is it always Shardless Agent off the top? It always has to be that one. Why can't it ever be a boring creature off the top? Like, all right. Do I just want a subtlety? I think I do want a subtlety the Coiling Oracle so they don't get a free draw off of this. Plus, it's like a card that I don't care about them birthing ritualing into. Yeah, they put it on the bottom. God, it had to be the 2-for-1 creature, didn't it? Into the Oculus. Warp Riddler. Stun down the Oculus. Attack it. Draw me something good. Is it another? All right. I was about to say, if that was another Oculus. What do we got? A little bit surprised they scooped up there. If they had just like flipped that Oculus into turn and found another Oculus, I feel like they very well could have won that. It's kind of an awkward 7. Like not having an answer in hand to Birthing Ritual. All right, opponent, be nice. Just pass back. Don't do anything. Like the exact opposite of what you're doing right now. Aren't all blue-black X's 7s awkward? Occasionally you find one that's like slightly less so. Finds a Coiling Oracle. If they have Flare, they would have had Flare anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I wait on this. But I kind of want to kill the Coiling Oracle so they can't attack in with the Fibblethip. Dismember has entered the reveal zone. No, Oracle doesn't draw. I just want to kill the one that doesn't have Summoning Sickness because the Summoning Sick one, or non. I want to kill the one that's got Summoning Sickness because the non-Summoning Sickness one can't attack, and I just want to kill it before they get to draw the extra card. But if they have Flare, they're going to Flare regardless. So I'd rather just kill that one. Like, I want to give them the chance to attack into my Bowmaster token and die. I don't think they're going to, but I don't want to make that decision for them. We know they have a Dismember in hand. Only known thing. Do I want to just spell snare this? Kind of do. Really want to attack. Like, I know they can't flash in an Ice Fang Coatl to block because they draw a card and I get two Bowmaster triggers. So, that's kind of whatever. All right. Are they going to double Dismember? No shot. No shot. We're about to double Dismember these two Bowmasters in response to a card draw. All right. That was about to be wild. Do I have any interest in just flashing in this subtlety to attack? Attacking for 5. I think I will. It's mostly taking into account, like, Ice Fang Coatl doesn't really matter here. If they want to dispute it, I've got a backup subtlety, and they can't flash in endurance in response or like on my turn because they don't have 3 mana up. That's kind of why I'm going for the aggressive subtlety here. And it does speed up the clock a good bit. Now, I don't think I'm going to flash in a second subtlety. Like, it's endurance or bust. Or your own subtlety, I guess. So this is... Does it matter how I sequence things? They could have Stern Scolding. So I think what I want to do is Mystical Dispute and be okay taking the 5 here. All right. Mystical Dispute because I want to be okay taking the 5. I don't want a subtlety in case they have a way to get something off the board. I don't want them to be able to Oculus on their turn, plus have an answer to subtlety. Or like just have an Oculus and I don't have a way of dealing with that. and I want to be okay just dealing 5 and like sitting on the Bowmaster because they don't really have any way to gain life in their deck. So if I can get them down to 1 and just like hold on to the Bowmaster, eventually I should be able to find a window to jam it. Seems like a funnish hand. Basic swamp count number like 20. I hope opponents' Krang avatar over here is not indicative of them registering Krang. That would kind of suck. I guess opponent went to the little magician's room and just hadn't come back yet. Oh, there you go. Big bucks, no affinity. Big bucks, no affinity. That doesn't look like an affinity start. So I think that means I'm just not going to crack this fetch yet because I don't really know what I'm looking for. Could be a Demirror. It's like Grixis Reanimator. Shieldred. Oh. It's Necro. Cool but rude Necro Dominance. Is that something I should be like concerned about, or is this a aspiring spike brew? Spike hadn't tried this. It's a win more combo. Well, I mean, if opponent just drops a turn 3 Necro on us here, we're in some trouble. This is kind of the thing that open deck list events are supposed to alleviate, where you just have these games of like, oh, I didn't know what was going on, and I just died because I drew the wrong half of my deck turn 1 or game 1. This only triggers when you attack, right? Yeah. No idea if that's good or not here after the Cool But Rude's already down. Kind of feel like I should just go subtlety tempo. It's like if they have to attack to get Cool But Rude triggers, then just subtlety something, untap, subtlety something else. Might be a way to steal the game. Probably just flash in a subtlety regardless. Oh, they level it up to dig for Necro dominance. How many Necro dominance do they usually run? Yes and no. Necrodominance has a weird effect where you discard the hand size for exiled. Rude sees the cards being discarded and deals damage. So, like, the discard to hand size? Well, looks like they got there, so let's see what happens. Just discard or just draw like 12 cards. And you're telling me this isn't a spike deck? Okay. If that's the case, why would you soul spike here? Because this is dealing 4, but the discards to Necro would deal 6? Isn't there like no reason to actually cast Soul Spike? All right. I got to see if I can find like some sort of a list of this real quick. Because I really don't know like how all in this is or what. There's just no results whatsoever. I see some lists that are like, I mean, Gucci's got a video on it. Hold up. Is this our answer? It's probably pretty close to it. Just trying to decide like how aggressively I want to go down the counter route or It's Necro base, -4 swords for 4 cool but rude. It's not that good. Well, just wrecked me that game one, so. No, Thoughtseize bug, damn you. Curses. Opponent, I will discard to this frog so fast. Are they going to upkeep Soul Spike my frog? Feels like they've got a soul or a another black card for Soul Spike and just like don't want to spend it. Maybe it's a Necro. So it was in fact another black card for Soul Spike. Definitely makes this Harbinger a lot worse. I might just play it next turn regardless. I think I am going to play the Harbinger because, like, they got to Soul Spike it if they want to be able to cast Necro or Cool but Rude. Tasty, what's up? Thank you so much for the 20-month resub. Hardly get to watch live, but get to watch YouTube. Keep up the good fight. I appreciate it. I'm trying. I would love to be more consistent with YouTube, but YouTube's weird. All right, I'm a little bit surprised about the frog here instead of Soul Spike. Like, obviously, they could find another Soul Spike, but. Okay. If you want to play second Bowmaster, kill my Harbinger, that's fine. That's what it's indicating. Sure. All right, so opponent's hand is 2 copies of the magic card Soul Spike. I like playing second frog here. Very quick land indicates that their hand is still 2 copies of the magic card Soul Spike. Carry on. Shieldred the Apocalypse. Kind of want to get this Bowmaster down, so I think I'm going to go Bowmaster, end of turn, upkeep, shoot the Sheriff, the Shieldred. Kind of plays out a little bit better if I'm already planning on shooting the Shieldred. Let's get some extra damage in. Do I have lethal? Discard 1, 2, 3, 4. Frog is a 5. Warp Quantum Riddler. Draw 2. Discard 2. Frog is 7, 8, 9, 10. So I do not. Can set up for very much lethal next turn. Sweet. Going into game 3, is there anything that I want to change? So this is the list that Mengucci played. And I'm assuming it's like this same 75 because I haven't seen anything different. The 1 Surveil, Cool but Rude, Necro, Bowmaster, Emperor, Shieldred, Inquisition. I probably want to drop a Harbinger on the draw. Drop a Harbinger, bring a push back in. Do I want Stern Scolding? I might just drop Harbinger entirely on the draw. My argument for it is they don't play basic mountain, so Harbinger just stops Cool but Rude altogether. They also can't get Delirium for Fatal Push without like attacking in. So just bring in like bad mana leak on the draw. All right. Got multiple pieces of interaction. Redraw effect. How's the Affinity matchup been? Playing Affinity 2 to 3 times every league. Not good. Like, I've got 5 sideboard slots that are almost effectively specifically for Affinity, and it's still like a 35-65 matchup. But it's definitely the case where it's a matchup that's so popular you can't afford to just ignore it and like hope you don't see it. Okay, so we've got options. Option number one is just take the cool but rude. Option number two, take the fell the profane and try to have them miss a land drop. Option number three is take the Necro, the big payoff. They do have a surveil off of this polluted delta. I kind of like just taking the fell the profane and saying you need to hit multiple lands to get this Necro down. And if they just miss like one land this upcoming turn, we could go for the counterspell line. Just try to put them like way off of Necro. Get a subtlety. They hit the land and still went for the dreams instead of the cool but rude. Seems a little awkward. All right. I'm going to let this go because I only have the one counter spell. Why does this keep like going off to the side? It's a pretty good draw. Double trouble. So best case scenario would be opponent just leveling up cool but rude here. Sweet. Turn 2 hasty emissary and rotten mouth for the win against Boros. That sounds just disgusting. Not in a good way. Please don't let the public see that way. All right. Crack for 9, sack 3, discard 3, or pay 12. We're going to go ahead and main phase second Bowmaster here for the damage. Makes Necro worse. Stavros, what's up? Okay, what's the plan, OP? They have a March of Otherworldly Light that I know about, a Necro that I know about, 2 unknowns. Is there any reason not to just throw out this Bowmaster? Let's say they've got a Bowmaster. They could kill one of my Bowmasters. I think playing out a Bowmaster is fine. but I don't think that I attack with. Well, if they just go for March here, this is great. Yeah, sure. Um, I was gonna say I think I play out a Bowmaster, but I don't attack with all of my Bowmasters. Well, that's kind of rude. I get to surgical my Bowmaster out of hand in response to my fetch. That's pretty good. Necro dominance is down. So we can go all the way to second main phase. So that's one Necro down. So if they get a Necro down and go to their end step, I feel like we're at a point where they're low enough it doesn't really matter. Like if they have a Necro at this point, I just don't think it's doing like enough damage. But now with them having another Bowmasters, maybe that's wrong. I probably do kind of need to find like another threat right on time. Here is a frog. What you got? Am I just discarding this other frog? How important is the extra point of damage here? It's probably worth discarding. And go. Fingers crossed that's enough. Got it. What do you think they get here? Fatal push. But you have to discard. I guess technically you could have land, push, push, push. Yeah, never mind. Be willing to bet a good chunk that's what they got. Maybe another fatal push. But I'm just like not tapping off of counterspell ever. What do you think about the new Boros land destruction deck? I didn't know that was a thing. Okay, so we ended up that league 4-1, loss being to Affinity, and we picked up wins against what? We beat Rakdos, Cool But Rude Necro Dominance. We beat Broodscale. We beat, man, I don't even remember. Oh, Simic Ritual, Broodscale, Rakdos, lost to Affinity. I don't remember what the other matchup was. But either way, I'm still happy with this deck. I've made a couple adjustments in this 75 just to try out with the pest controls in the main over a couple of the thought seizes. I was expecting to see more Boros, but instead we ran into a bunch of stuff that didn't play anything into pest control outside of Broodscale. So I would be happy moving the pest controls back to the sideboard. We got. Let's see. Opponent said they were fun games. Sad I don't use the chat feature. But yeah, the 75 I'm really happy with. The pest controls in the main, like I said, were kind of a hedge towards Boros. Didn't see any Boros, so they looked kind of bad. Would have preferred the Thought Seizes in the main that league, but ultimately not terrible. March of Otherworldly Light did its job of hitting Saga a couple times, as well as hitting that Necro dominance in the last round, which Prismatic Ending wouldn't have done. So always glad to see that tech working out. Kaito was good. Frog was great. Bowmasters was really good that league. I kind of usually have a bit of a negative attitude towards Bowmasters. Stern Scolding was a bit underwhelming. I wanted to try out those and was not particularly impressed. So I think I'd rather just have the Thought Seizes over the Stern Scolding and the Pest Controls, and then move the Pest Controls to the board, along with probably just go back to the third Harbinger.